I am Lisa Singer. I am the Senior Director Events Programming at MediaPost, and this is Brand Insider BTS, where I get to pull back the curtain on some of the most influential women marketers. With me today is Extasy James, and she is the owner of Good Grades Cannabis Store. Hey, Extasy.
Hi, how are you? Good
I'm
afternoon.
good. How are you?
Good, good.
Good. I love your top. The colors are vibrant, very awesome. So, well,
Thank you.
I have to say congrats. You're making history as the first woman-owned licensed cannabis store in New York. So that's pretty amazing. How are you feeling? Are you loving it? Do you feel the weight of it? What is it?
Yeah, I feel excited, also nervous. It's a big deal.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's
yeah.
an incredible deal. You know what? It's because I was reading different articles that you were quoted in, and one of the quotes was that you said this new endeavor is a significant milestone for our family, hometown, and women in New York. So what I want to ask you is not about, I mean, because that's a huge milestone and it's amazing, but I like to get more on the personal side. So has there been a milestone in your life that what has been the most impactful one aside from opening this store?
The most impactful thing in my life is being a mother.
Oh,
That's the most important thing. Yes.
I love that answer. I mean, how many kids?
Just one
Just the one boy, girl?
girl.
Girl. Okay. So, well, I mean, obviously, great example you're setting for her being the first woman to open a store like this in New York. But how did it impact? Like, how did it change? I'm curious. Let's back it up a little bit. When you were younger and just sort of trying to figure out your life and your career and what you wanted to do, what did you envision for yourself? And then, so talk about that first. Let's go there. Like, what has been your path to sort of bring you to where you are today?
Um, family. Family is what brought me here today. We're looking for this business is very important, not just for, to give back for the community, but generational wealth. So family is it's a big deal.
What were you envisioning though? So going back to, 18 years old or 20, 21, whatever, when you first start thinking about your future, what were you sort of envisioning for yourself? I mean, was it what you're doing today, opening this store, or was
Envisioning like what I wanted to do, like
that's
as
what's going
career
on in your
wise. Yeah, like
yeah,
as career
career?
wise,
What
what
did
I
you see
wanted
for
to
yourself?
do. I actually wanted to be a wildlife rescue worker, actually.
Really? Okay.
I wanted to be a wildlife rescue worker, to travel the world, to see different things, and during different cultures. And having my daughter, I wanted her to homeschool her, and actually, want her to encounter everything firsthand instead of reading behind a book. So I wanted a different life. I always wanted a different life.
Yeah. And so, I
So
mean, so obviously having a child impacted, maybe you're not going to go to school now for wildlife.
no,
So,
my daughter made me very motivated. She's what had me go to school actually. Like I graduated when I had her, but she made me want to continue into college.
okay. So, and did it sort of, I mean, obviously you didn't go into wildlife. So, how did it alter to where you are today? Did you start doing business class? Like, what made it so you could be this entrepreneur? I mean, and promote yourself and become now this, person making history in New York.
Like I said, it was family. We came together, me and my cousin. Family is just the number one thing is very big to me and to us. And, I just want us to all be together. So
Yeah.
it's
No,
a
I
very
think
big
that's
deal.
amazing. I know, and when you talk about family, when you go back to when you were a child, you had your father, he had been deported back to his home country of Jamaica, and it was based on some cannabis related um, um, incarcerations or being arrested. And that obviously he left then your mom alone raising four children. And as the oldest, you had to step up. You had to sort of take responsibility.
Yeah,
I'm sure that
that's where
drives you in a lot of.
yes, it made me like family, it made me motivated. Being the oldest, I know that my mom needed help and I know she couldn't do everything on her own. And cannabis became a big help with providing. So it made me and my siblings closer because we didn't have anybody but just us. We just had each other. So they put food on the table.
Yeah.
That's what I can say.
And so obviously that's what drove you to want to legalize cannabis in the area and have, even when it was legalized area, and I'm sure other areas where seeing shops or people selling cannabis not legally. It wasn't regulated enough and you needed to sort of work within the means to get it to this point to where you're at. What drove
That
you
was a
from
big
just
deal.
making the money or supporting your family to then going through all that, helping to get this all regulated and be able to open your own shop?
Being accustomed to cannabis and my lifestyle growing up, to be the first woman-owned legal recreational cannabis dispensary is a big deal because growing up, like I said, I put food on the table, but it was a big deal because I have questions too. Like I wanted to educate people. I wanted to let them know it's not just for consumption, it's for medicinal purposes, it's for different varieties, not just for the stereotypes that everybody was putting on.
Right. No, I mean, we've learned that. I mean, as you said, medicinally and just recreationally, it's not, people
Yes.
I think had the stigma that, oh, you're, getting stoned, you're not motivated, you're not, you know what I mean? And it's not, it's just like someone going to the bar and having a drink, or at home having a glass of wine. It's the same kind of impact. But I think because it's a drug that it had that sort of label on it. And how, obviously, how did you make that, to make that kind of awareness come out? Like, how important was that to you? You talked about it, obviously, that you needed to do this, but it's not always, it can be easier said than done.
Yes, it's always stereotypical opinions. It's still, hard today, to educate people. That's why it's more safe and to be legal, to be safe, to actually imply and let these customers know, like, hey, this is what it's for. You have headaches, you have, insomnia, or it's not just, to just get high. It's just, medicinal purposes, recreational purposes, for safety. That's very important.
And it's educating people for that, which is then what I'm sure helps then to make take law come into effect here to, when as the more people are educated, then you're going to see the powers that be finally doing something about it, because I think having the illegal selling of it is what can also stigmatize it even more. So to legalize it is a huge thing, and what you're doing is huge.
Yes.
Well, I think that's awesome. And I know, we've already talked about different impacts and, and just obviously the struggle of growing up with your dad gone. But has there been a challenge that you faced as an adult that almost seemed like you wouldn't be able to get through it, but you persevered and you got through? Like, is there an example you can give us?
With this business, it has its ups and downs, but to have a great team and a great family is a big deal, and it takes a lot of weight off my shoulders. Um, like I've been bringing it back to, as for my adult life, being a mom, like is so much motivation. I want to build a future for her. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And also, I mean, and maybe that's not in your mind, but I mean, building the future, obviously, first and foremost, but you're showing her a great role model. You're taking charge of your life and you're becoming, and like I said, we don't keep repeating it, but you're setting history. So how are you seeing that from in your daughter's eyes?
Um, I want her to know that, it's a man's field. So being a woman in this industry, it's really empowering. I want to let her know that anything is possible. So it's really a big deal. It's really a big deal as a woman. So I can teach my daughter and she can teach her daughter, and it's really good.
Yeah, no, it just, I mean, the more women we see out there in the positions of, I don't, power or just in what in any capacity where they're leading as opposed to following, I think is just wonderful to see because we always haven't, but also for the next generations coming up to they'll only know that. And I think that's what makes it better, that they'll then not even feel those walls, hopefully. So I think
Yes,
that's awesome.
to educate the community and also with women to empower women to let them know like, hey, we can do anything.
Mhm.
Anything is possible and you can flourish from it and you can also bring your family and uplift yourself.
You feel
So
like in your community that was something you had to fight through? Like, do you feel like was that stereotype within?
yes, it's still that stereotype till this day. We're still fighting till this day. That's why, having the name Good Grades is really grade A, cannabis, it's legal. We can actually educate. So when we do our weekly reports, it's not just saying, hey, here's this, here, try this. It's like, hey, this is what this does. Hey, this is what helps, and this is what doesn't help, or this is for you, and this is not for you. So,
Right. And as an owner, I mean, because when this is for brand marketers, and you are the owner, so not necessarily you don't have the typical marketing background, but you're your best marketer. You're the one who is promoting your product and promoting your organization and promoting just the whole impact of changing that stigma, changing what people think of cannabis. So how did you just jump into that knowing because this is something you're so passionate about, or how did you go about getting that message out?
well, this is a family business, and being in this business with my cousin and him being the first cannabis attorney, it's really a big help. So it's not just with our platform with this business, but he also is a lawyer. He can also help people with this field. So it's great. It's a good team.
Yeah, no, and that's what matters. I'm curious, what do people get wrong about you when they first meet you?
Um, like I said, being a woman, we are underestimated. So just to let everybody know, hey, we the first. It's
Mhm.
really good.
Yeah, no, but when just first meeting you, even through this, um, you seemed a little back, like not shy wouldn't be the word, but just sort of back, and you're shining, you're coming out. Like I feel like, are you that person maybe who kind of feels it out first and then opens up, or like what would you just how would you describe yourself?
Yeah, I'm more of a pay attention, not jump into it because I want to make sure I am aware and I want to make sure I'm correct when I come or approach a situation. So I like to be aware of not just my surroundings, but everyone else because I'm not by myself. Um, so that's a big deal too.
Yeah, it's sort of step back, check it all out, and then speak when
And
you.
then engage the way I need to.
Okay, so now I also was reading about you and an article, and you wrote that you are talking about you're breaking down the barriers. And with the dispensary, it's your way of welcoming an inclusive space where anyone can come to learn, explore, and find products unique to them. So, how important is that? Like, first of all, how do you advocate for diversity and equity within your group or your community? Like, how are you helping to support that? And second, how much responsibility do you believe brands today, not just smaller businesses like yourself, but the large brands that we see out there, how much of a role do they need to play in culture?
It's a big role. Like you said, we have something for everyone. The diversity is not just for the stereotypical types, but we have something for everyone, and we also have something we can teach if nobody knows or they don't have any idea. So that's really a big deal. There's people from everywhere, so there's a lot of people that come from different cultures and different backgrounds, and they don't understand. So
Neat.
we have, yeah, so we have this way of educating our customers or anyone that has any answers or questions or
Yeah. And so now within your community and sort of making it into a larger topic, not just about you, but just brands in general. We see some some brands, maybe they have an advertise, they do a campaign, for Black History Month, but then you don't see much from them otherwise. Or, now we're into, Hispanic Heritage Month and the same kind of thing happening. Whereas that's a band-aid, but to really, what do you think needs to be done within these organizations to make it much more inclusive and equitable all year, and just not something that's just sort of that campaign?
Well, to be a Black woman, I know the struggles and I know what I had to go through to come this far. So I know the businesses, the small businesses like us, or the people that that we help, or the people that come and invest in us. It's good to help each other.
Mhm.
Um, Being here because we've been suppressed for so long, and in order to uplift, or in order to continue to grow or to educate, we have to learn how to be together. So
Support one another.
yes.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Whether it's just for women of color, women,
Yes.
men, everyone, it's about bringing the other person up. Like, as you said, you sort of had to strive to get to where you are. There was a lot of, I'm sure, roadblocks. Hopefully now there's less roadblocks, especially if there's someone like you holding out a hand for them. Do you try to see women in your community and maybe help them to, maybe they're interested in starting a business, or do you feel there's an obligation there, or not an obligation, just even a desire to want to help them to get to a position like yourself?
Yes, like I said, as a in a man's field, to be a woman and to strive further and to open up the doors to other women, yes, I would say yes.
All right. Well, I have to ask you, I like to get off sometimes the business topic and talk fun, but what are you obsessed with? Do you have a guilty pleasure?
I'm obsessed with my daughter. I can't say anything else.
All right, let's go. The daughter, okay. And I love that you are so obsessed with your daughter. But I'm curious, is there certain binge watching or something when you want your wine or pizza or
I'm really big on I'm big on the cannabis that we do sell. I like to try them and make sure, like, I want to educate people the correct way. So I'm not just, giving it away, but I'm also trying for myself.
yeah. Well, all
So
right. And I always do this when I ask anyone I'm talking to, outside of what you are promoting, what are you obsessed with? As I said, it could be anything. Maybe it's a certain exercise or for me, I love to have my chocolate and wine, like that's my little, when I want to relax, kind of thing like
yeah, I
that.
like my edibles. I like to relax, listen to my music. I dance with my daughter, and then I just go to bed. I like a calm, quiet life.
Mhm. Is that your
So
happy place, dancing with your daughter?
yeah, just my home and my daughter. That's all I need. That's all I need. As long as it's comfortable and it's safe and it's quiet, I love it.
Is there something you do to kind of refuel yourself? Like when, I'm sure just leading to this point, there was a lot of times when you were,
Yeah, when I
yeah, what do you go
consume
to?
my edible, or I have my flower and I just relax, watching TV in bed, and
Mhm.
probably cook a little bit, but I love eating in bed. I just relax. I have nothing to do. Just binge watch all day.
Very cool. I'm curious. I like to, and this is a kind of an off question, but if you could live in any time, so any era aside from now, when,
I would say now. This is a better time. We made history. So
yeah,
opening up doors and opportunities. So yeah, it's a big deal for women also. We've been suppressed for so long. So yeah, I would say now.
I love that. And how about we're talking about now, any recent revelations, anything, and there's been a lot going on, obviously, for you, with a lot of exciting things. Any revelations that are sort of like aha moments, or just, wow, I wasn't realizing this or anything like that?
I didn't realize I understood the impact of this business, selling cannabis, but I didn't realize how many people we would like help.
Mhm.
So it's a big deal. It just being in this business, opening up doors, talking to different people. It's good. It's really good. It opened up doors for future opportunities. So
Yeah. Well, for for you, what do you see moving forward? What are your ambitions? Obviously this is huge, but you're, young, you want to move forward, you want, what's next for you?
I see more. I see more for us. Like I'm into the family generation. I'm into that. I'm into family. I'm just big on that. So as long as we come together, we live great.
How old is your daughter?
She's 7. She'll be 7 in December.
Okay, so a little too young to come into the business, but
Yeah.
does she show anything like, seeing you and seeing her mom, and obviously I'm sure she's proud. So what are her thinkings now? Businesswoman or like mom or maybe wildlife person? Like what do you see from her?
To her, she just sees that I work really hard and I work a lot, so she just wants to make sure that I'm okay, you know? She's like, as long as you know you're okay and you're happy, then it's fine. I don't think she grasps how big this is.
Mhm.
I just know that she just knows that I'm doing what I gotta do for us.
Well, I mean, and yeah, you got a lot of press for this. So all of a sudden, I'm sure you had, and I don't mean it in a bad way, but you had this little world with your family and your little business and getting things going, and then all of a sudden you have all the press covering it. You're being labeled as creating, history. Um, so that changes things. How has it impacted you?
I would say I'm still like basking in everything because everything is different. I learn something new every day. So I look forward to it. So it's not a dull moment.
Well, that sounds good, and I'm sure there'll be more of those kind of no dull moments. So you better get ready. Well, Ecstasy, thank you so much. I really appreciate you talking with me today. And I appreciate you watching. As always, if you have a woman brand marketer who you are impressed with and want to hear more about, please let me know, give me the suggestions, and I will do my best to get her. So thank you for watching. And again, Ecstasy, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.